It's not RC. Adventures in Radio Control.
Hey folks, I've had some requests to do a sort of comparison review between the HobbyKing Servoless spoiler and the Esprit Models, or what else is it called? It's MPI Servoless spoilers. So let's take a look at the two side by side and see how they compare. This one here is the one from Esprit Models, the MPI spoilers, and this would be the HobbyKing unit right here. So the first obvious thing is there's a difference in size of these guys. Stick a ruler in here for comparison. The HobbyKing unit has a blade length of 255 millimeters, which is what they advertise it as, although it might be a little confusing if you go to their website. It also says the overall dimensions is 300 millimeters, which is a standard size for these spoilers, so don't be confused. The HobbyKing is actually only 255 millimeters. Esprit Models sell a whole bunch of different sizes. I got the 300 millimeter one, and it is actually, the blade is 300 millimeters. So, you know, and obviously then the motor is a little bit longer off this end. So that's another, you know, another 40 millimeters off the end there. So bear that in mind when you're ordering this stuff. As I said, these guys sell 4 different sizes though, so you can pick and choose what you need. The HobbyKing, at the time of making this video, only have the 255 millimeter unit. So let's see these guys in action, see them working together. Got them wired up on the same radio, same wire harness. So hook that up. Okay, they're alive. So they both do their thing. So next thing you'll notice is, I mean, it's tough to compare these side by side because this is a smaller unit, but there's a lot more blade area on the Esprit model. You know, that's sticking up there, way up in the air, which is kind of nice. I don't know, it says on their website what these are. It looks like it's, I don't know, somewhere around 30 millimeters up in the air. And the HobbyKings are coming out around 20 millimeters. So, yeah, you get a, I don't know, I really can't compare that though, because as I said, this is not the same size unit, but they both work about the same. Can't really say either one of those is doing a better job than the other there. So, they both do that, which is good. Okay, the other thing that's really important about these is the amount of slop in the linkage, so let's check that out. So, fully extended. So, HobbyKing has got a little bit of slop there. Not a whole lot, but that's certainly some. And the Esprit Models also has a fair amount of slop in their linkage, so they're both sort of more or less the same, I'd say. Let's try that retracted, see how they do there. So the HobbyKing one, solid up this end. When we get down to the other end, it moves a little bit. I don't know, it's probably maybe 1 or 2 millimeters of movement down that end. That's not so good. Esprit Models one, solid and solid. So that doesn't move at all when it's retracted. HobbyKing one's got a little bit of play up the far end. And they both have a fair amount of slop when they're extended. Let's try a drag race here, see which one can deploy the fastest. Let's see here. Looks like the HobbyKing is the winner there. And come up a little faster. Not much in it though. These two units are pretty similar the way they're put together. See, the HobbyKing one has got a little plastic housing around its motor. Esprit Models has got what appears to be shrink wrap and silicon. The little potentiometers on the side, the little linear potentiometers, look like they both say B10K. They look like the exact same unit. So, as far as some of these parts seem to be shared. That yeah, they're much the same the way they're set up here. Let's So look at the linkages in there. And they look pretty much almost the exact same design. There's really not much difference between the two. So I think it's pretty common to glue your spoilers into the wing. Both of these guys, however, have a couple of holes in the bottom, which I assume are for screwing them down to the wing instead. So maybe you don't need to glue these in, just a couple of screws. And they got holes on the top, which I guess align with those so that you can, I'm assuming, let's see here. Yeah, so you can stick a screwdriver in there, down there to tighten your bolts, your screws. So yeah, you don't have to glue these in, which is nice. So if they do fail, and I've heard some talk about them not lasting as long as a servo with a linkage, but they would be pretty easy to swap out, I'd imagine. So what do we think of these things? To be honest, there's not a whole lot of difference between the two. They both seem to use the same electronics parts, or at least some of them seem to be common. I can't compare the motors, but not too special about those. The linkages and the rest of the construction all looks really similar. They're like a mirror image of each other. They really are very, very similar. So yeah, other than the price, the Esprit Models one is like 3 or 4 times the price of the HobbyKing unit. I really can't tell you that there's much difference between them. I guess we'll have to see, how they stack up and how durable they are. It's actually interesting here. There's a comment here on the Esprit Model one here about how the linear design of the built-in servo has a limited operation and is far less than the rotary servos. So as long as you don't use abnormal repetitive operation, you should be fine according to this. So yeah, so we'll have to see how long either of these last, but that's for another video. So there you have it. HobbyKing versus Esprit Models. Yeah, I kind of like them both, to be honest. So there you go. Make sure you subscribe if you like this sort of stuff. See you next time.